All right. It's kind of an impromptu. Did I say that right? Live session, very short notice. I see somebody coming on. Why am I looking through the refrigerator? I don't know what I want. All right, got somebody coming on. Got the new hat. This is from 12 Stones Adventures, and they, Billy had it personalized and sent it to me. Mountain Wanderer, let's see, Mountains and More. Brad, what's up, guys? All right, when are we going to see Squidly merch? All right, so this shirt might be. Let me suck that gut in, make that look right. The hiker trash shirt. I'm actually thinking about a whole line of hiker trash stuff, and I'm looking at how to do that and have it set up on Etsy. And I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. I might not. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. This is a sharp hat, and best I can tell with Billy, every once in a while he'll do a purchase and an order and get anybody who wants one on there. And I started to, and told him, no, I guess I can't right now. I got 2 kids in college, and so anyway, he ordered me one and got it personalized for me. I mean, it was just an awesome offer for him to do that. And he asked me for my address and said he was sending it, and I thought, oh my goodness. So anyway, I've got that. All right, so Noob Hiker. There might be Squidly merch, but it's not going to say Squidly on it. It'll be a hiker trash line, unless you, because I just don't think anybody would buy anything that has Squidly on it, or Gone Feral with Squidly. I just don't think they would. But I think I've had with this shirt that I ordered, I've had some interest in it with the hiker trash stuff on it. And I also looked at, instead of just t-shirts, also having a hoodie as an option. And it would just have the little hiker trash on the left breast. And it's also a full zip, which I didn't necessarily want, but anyway, you just go with whatever they have available for you. But I have spent part of the afternoon looking into that, seeing, all right, how can I do that? And it might be too much of a hassle for what it would be, because I don't think I'd make more than about $1 a shirt, and it would just be a real inconvenience, because I would have to pay up front for the shirts to be made, and then of course once they get paid for, I get that money back, but then I have to pay for the shirt, and then I get, my 38-cent cut or whatever it is. So I don't know. Brad, you definitely need one of these shirts. Not shirts. You need one of these hats. One of these 12 Stones Adventures hats. So I guess part of what I got on here for was the merch, so New Hiker, that was a timely comment. The other thing is we're starting to get some cooler weather here in Alabama, so it looks like I've got some of my plans may start to kind of fall into place. I don't know how anybody else is, but until some cooler weather comes, I don't take my plans and stick dates on them because you just never know what the weather is actually going to do. So I just am not going to uh, commit to anything with dates until I know for a fact that some cooler weather is coming. We had, if you're from Alabama or from anywhere in the deep South, you'll be able to identify this. If you're not from the deep South, then this will sound completely foreign to you. But we had, I don't know, it was 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. We had an October where, I mean, we were calling it like, mid-October, we were calling it July 89th or something because every day in the middle of October, it was in the 100s. I mean, it was 100, 101 degrees, something like that. Just absolutely miserable. And it just seemed like that summer was just not going to let go. And it just went on forever. Um, anyway, so for that reason, that happens unfortunately all the time. So um, uh, I just don't commit any dates. But it looks like maybe next weekend on Sunday I may be doing a day hike, go up around Cheehaw. Maybe just simple out and back going to McDill Point. I might do something like that. Um, Now that a little bit of cooler weather's coming. Beyond that, I've got some ideas of some things that I want to do, but I haven't committed to any dates. All right, Brad. So you and Shan have a big trip coming up. Stay by your phone in case we need rescuing. Absolutely. If you're anywhere within about 2 or 3 hours of me, I'll come get you. I got you, bro. Actually, a lot of that crew, the people that I hike with, a lot of people that I've just met at what am I trying to say? People I've met at Pinhoti Fest. I would do the same for them. The hiking community is made up of a bunch of really really wonderful people, and I would pretty well drop most things to go rescue somebody. Joey Outdoors, what's up, buddy? Uh, yeah, Brad. Definitely looking forward to some cooler weather. As soon as it gets here, dude, I'm outside. I hate the way this is going to come off, but I was in Sunday school class this morning, and somebody asked me about kind of some things uh, that I had coming up, and I basically told them that as soon as cooler weather got here, they were barely going to see me in Sunday school because the only time I get to go be outside is on the weekends. Carlson Adventures, what's up, man? Glad to see you on here. Or wait, what was it? Was it hey? Was that it? Weren't you a part of that? Am I remembering that right? Anyway, it was just a silly video where everybody got on there and just went, hey, and move on to the next person. Senior Hiker 77, Johnny Camper, what's up, man? Good to see you on here. Good to see you come hang out for just a little while. So instead of just what I'm doing, y'all tell me what you're doing. What things do you have? Just put that in the comments. Kind of some things that you have on the either on the front burner or the back burner, but things you are pretty sure you're going to do. Rod, you can't hear, but you can say hi, so hi back. Uh, oh, the Red River Gorge. Is that meet up this weekend? There are always so many people there, and for a variety of reasons, I am just never able to make it. Joey Outdoors, hoping to do the Pine Mountain Trail soon. Have you ever done the Pine Mountain Trail? Because if you haven't, that is a fantastic trail. That is 23 miles of just pure enjoyment. Really love that trail. Johnny Camper, you're going to be on the PMT this weekend? Wow. Johnny, you're always on the PMT. But I love that trail and the campsites that you always have. Just, mwah. Brad hauling a bunch of students that have been collecting storm relief donations. Oh, that's awesome. Uh, and you're also in a restaurant, sorry. Do I need to hold it down? Am I too loud? Uh, Johnny Camper, you going to Red River Gorge? Tie-dye, you got to get on the Pine Mountain Trail. I can't recommend that trail enough. I've been on it 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. But anyway, really love that trail. Johnny Camper, see you on the 11/2. What's going on November 2nd? I don't know. Is there something I should know? Trump or Kamala? Yes, I have an opinion. No, I'm not doing politics on this channel. When it comes to backpacking, politics will not be a part of it for me. If that's your jam, that's fine. You do you, but I'm not making it a part of it on here. Because for one thing, it's my opinion. Nobody else cares. And if I express that opinion, I'm guaranteed to make half the group happy and half of them angry. So no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, absolutely. That is the only thing you'll accomplish is making people mad. But if it makes you feel better, I do have an opinion. I have a strong opinion, actually, but nope, not doing it on here. Tie-dye. That is probably the most succinct way to put it. Politics and backpacking don't mix. I don't want anything to do with it. Oh, I was invited by Taylor to Beach Bottom. I think I do remember that. I'm the worst. The older I get, I can't keep up with dates and everything. I need to write that down though. I'll come back to this, and I'll put that on paper. I think that November 2nd that I got that one cleared with the person that I call the cruise director, my wife, that I'm free that weekend. So I just need to put it on a calendar and say, yeah, I'm going. So how many people are going to be at Red River Gorge? There's always a huge crowd there. And I'm guessing there are campsites big enough to accommodate that many people, or do you get spread out over 2 or 3 campsites? How do you do that at Red River Gorge? Oh, it's big enough, but it's a dry campsite. Well, a lot of campsites even that are supposed to have water are dry this time of year. So yeah, whatever. You just pack in an extra 3 liters of water. Okay, so a really big campsite that accommodated 30 people, and I've seen video of Hanson's Point, so I know what you're talking about. And is that the dry one, the dry campsite that Johnny Camper's talking about? And Johnny Camper saying that when he was there, it was at least 40. Whew. Man, that has got to be a massive campsite. Either that or everybody's just camped on top of each other. Oh, I'm sure it's a blast. Because I know a bunch of the people who are there, and I'm sure that's a lot of fun. Okay. So so Johnny Camper, they are very close. I bet so. with that many people. Any big plans coming up? Well, I have. I don't know how big you would call them. I've got a section hike of the Pinhoti that I've got planned, and I don't know if you follow my channel closely enough that you even noticed, which is fine. I don't care. But between Christmas and New Year's last year, I did about an 80-mile section of the Pinhoti, and this year the plan was to pick up basically where I left off, and that would be picking up at Cheaha State Park, going north, and do the next 60 miles, and that would end at Pinky Burns. And I don't know how familiar everybody is with the Pinhoti, but that 60 miles is probably my favorite 60 miles, or a favorite of any miles on the Pinhoti. So I'm really looking forward to that. Johnny Camper, I can't believe you didn't show up at Pinhoti Fest. Well, I really wanted to. I mean, I like deeply wanted to be there, but I had a whole set of circumstances that just, and all of the circumstances were competing, and something or some things were going to have to get sort of left off. And I had a friend of mine from college was coming to town, and he was going to be staying with us that weekend. And there is no chance in clear conscience I could just like, well, here's my house, enjoy. I'm going out of town. I couldn't do that. That would be a pretty terrible host move. So anyway, with out of town company, I just had to be here. But having been to the first two Pinhoti Fests, man, it hurt my soul to not be there. Yeah, I've seen where Carlson. I've seen where you've been for the last few years doing some section hikes. Um, I don't know what the AT is going to be like now. I don't know how much damage was done to it. I've seen a lot of the damages to towns and communities and whole cities and roads and bridges and all that, but I have not seen anything about what it did. What it did to the AT. Johnny Camper, you could have invited too. Well, they were in town for the football game, so that was their thing. They weren't here for any of my hiking nonsense. So Micah 6'8", it's good through Georgia. Okay. Well, actually, that's a pretty big thing because Georgia was hit as hard as a lot of that in North Carolina. I just wonder what it looks like in North Carolina. Joey Outdoors. I drove all the way from Tennessee to Pinhoti Fest to meet you, and then I had to cry on Johnny Camper's shoulders when you didn't show. Man, I'm so sorry. You didn't show up for me. Stop it. Ain't nobody there to meet me. Crow and Johnny Camper and Metro and all of those guys, yeah, everybody was there for that. Ain't nobody putting up with my nonsense. Well, I appreciate that I was missed, Johnny, but it did hurt me that I couldn't be there. All right, the trail is officially closed south of Rockfish Gap right now, but there's a blowdown in what little I've seen Rockfish Gap to the south of the Priest Wilderness. I wonder how much of it is closed, or not even closed. I just wonder how much of it is impassable, even if it's not closed. And I wonder how much of it got just completely washed out from the rain. Oh, it just hurts to think about, those kind of things. But the human cost that's going on right now in North Carolina, South Carolina, and it's painful to look at. Yeah, I don't think that trying to hike any of that um, through North Carolina would be easy. And of course, we're here lamenting what's happening to trails, but really, y'all, it's the human cost. Don't lose sight of what Let the main thing be the main thing. Yeah. Thanks for your endorsement. All right. So what I have going on then? It sounds like I have a couple of Pinhoti trips. I have uh, apparently I have one on the PMT coming up in November, and um, I also have and if you follow my channel, you may be surprised to hear this, but I have some things in the Sipsy that I haven't done before that I definitely want to go do this year. I've got them. They've been on the back burner for a while, and I just haven't done them. I got to one that had been on the back burner back in April, and but the everything had already leafed out. It started getting kind of jungle-ish. So I want to go in the winter when all the leaves are down and the hiking is a little bit easier and the views are a little bit better. Um, yes, the PMT. I will be on the PMT um, this fall. Love me some Pine Mountain Trail. I cannot go on and on enough about the Pine Mountain Trail. The Pine Mountain Trail needs its own festival. Yeah, there you go. All right, so Johnny, uh, you need to get to work on putting together the PMT festival. Yeah, roll tide. What was that? Am I laying an egg? Ugh. All right, I am 55 years old, and I remember the last time Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, and I was 15. It's been 40 years since that happened. Yeah, get with your agent, Andy, and y'all put together a PMT festival. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, that was painful to look at. Go dogs. Arr, 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 arr. All right. So, anybody else have any big plans coming up? I tell you, something else I want to do, and it's been bugging me that I haven't done this, but in 21 I went to Colorado and I did the Maroon Bells Wilderness. There's the 4 pass loop, and somehow on the loop we only did 3 of the 4 passes. I don't know how. I don't know what we missed. I don't know how to navigate that so that I get all the passes. But in any case, we did 3 of the passes, and I I don't just want. I need to go out west again, um, and I really want to do either Colorado, Utah, or Wyoming. Um, let's see, Cave Manos. Have the weekend before Thanksgiving, either doing PMT or some sections of the Pinhoti. Heck yeah. Always can jump on the Pinhoti. Micah 6A. Yep. Maybe we'll see each other on the Pinhoti. Or maybe we could arrange that. Arrange it where whatever time I'm going that you could be there. Like I said, I think between Christmas and New Year's, I'm gonna try to do that 60-ish miles from Chehaw State Park to Pinky Burns, and see if I can get a handful of people to go do that. That would be fun. And I could totally do that in 4 days. But I think I'm going to extend it to 5 and have kind of a day in the middle where it's a short day in the morning, dip into Heflin and resupply so I don't have to carry all the food for the whole trip, and then jump back on. So no plans currently. Your plans are going to be spur of the moment, have to work around parents' care. Yeah, I can identify with that. My wife and I both are kind of in the same boat. Yeah, so still doing, on the shoulders of 15 miles a day, but have a day in the middle where it's a short mileage in the morning, dip into Heflin, short mileage in the afternoon. So just a short mileage day right there in the middle. And tie-dye, that has always been my goal. I mean, for years, that's been my goal, is to try to get on a trail somewhere, get outside once a month. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes it works out better than that, but more times than not, I miss the mark on it. Your plan is to go slow and see what you can do. I hear you. And I know are you still recovering from, I'm not going to call out what you were recovering from. It just doesn't seem nice, but are you still on the recovery from that, or are you past it? Well, Johnny, you just called it out. uh, well, there's always the old and out of shape. And Johnny laughing. It was funny. I was laughing with you, not at you. Um, well, I'm glad it's better. And now it's just a matter of getting in shape. And I have discovered that I found out the hard way. I am not really in trail shape right now. I have got to get there. I think if I tried to do 20 miles right now, I would be experiencing some deep regret. But I've gotten into doing a lot of those 20-mile days. But the truth is, between 12 and 15, probably closer to 15, is really my sweet spot. That's my happy place. And you're never in trail shape. Well, even when I'm doing the 20-mile days, I'm probably not really in trail shape. I'm just making myself do it. I get to the end of the day, and I am. This is a Southern medical term. I am stove up. Everything's stiff and I can't move. How many people on here are familiar with that term, stove up? All right, 8 to 10, given that you're recovering from that whole knee thing, is probably not bad. Yeah, you're familiar with the stove up thing? Yeah, when I fell, this was in, what year was this? Oh, this was in 2020. This was the COVID year. I slipped on the stairs, and when I fell, I broke a vertebra, and that's the first diagnosis I got. A doctor actually said these words: "Well, you're just going to be stiff and stove up for a while." Thought, that is the most Southern thing I have ever heard. Yeah, stove up, just stiff and hurting. That. I guess that's the clinical definition of stove up. Yep, been there, done that. Absolutely. Too familiar with stove up? So after I do 20-mile days, that's how I feel in camp. A lot of times, though, I feel pretty good the next morning. But boy, at the end of it, that night, I'm just wiped out. Sweet spot's usually 10 to 12. Uh, yeah, struggled to make 7. A couple of weeks ago when I was out on that hot weather trip, I bet I didn't do more than about 7 or 8 miles and was regretting every single one of them. And I think in part it was because of the heat. And you were stove up after that trip, yeah. Um, and you try to plan around 12 to 15 on a pleasure trip, yeah. Doing a challenge this year, did a 25-mile day, followed by an 18-mile day, and it took you off trail for a cut. Yeah, I bet it did. Um, the Alabama Triple Crown is kind of like that. It's consecutive days of being on the shoulders of 20-mile days, and we do it on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And by the time you get to the end of the day Sunday, because you're really not trail ready. I mean, you do a little bit of training, but you're really not trail ready. And so by the time you get to the end of it on Sunday, you are wiped out. I got to the was it last year? I guess it was last year. I got to the end of it on that Sunday, and I was so wiped out, my brain didn't even function. I'm glad to hear somebody else has a 12 to 15 as kind of their sweet spot. Well, I said, Max, I said, a couple of weeks ago when I did that hot weather trip, I had the same experience. I bet I didn't do more than about 7 miles for the whole day, and I was feeling it the next day. I just felt awful, and I think in part was getting a little bit dehydrated and just being hot and miserable. And Johnny Camper, I don't like to do that to myself. Well, sometimes I do like to do that to myself. It feels good to get exerted pretty close to your limit. Sometimes that's a good feeling. But Max hit the nail on the head. The heat will zap you, boy. It'll sneak up on you and take everything you got. Yeah, you can't be hiking in this Alabama summer heat, but it's starting to cool off a little bit now. The Who was it? I guess it was Kim Wright at the Pinhoti Outdoor Center. This is what I heard her say about people trying to hike the Pinhoti in summer. She said that they try to discourage it, but people say, "Oh, they want to try it anyway," and so they'll help them and they'll shuttle them to the trailhead, and then from there it ends up being a rescue mission because the heat just just wipes you out because everybody thinks, well, if I get hot, I'll just find a water source and I'll just lay down in the water source. Well, in June, especially into July and August, the water sources are dried up. There are no water sources that you could actually get your body into to cool off, and so it's just miserable hiking. And the one I did a few weeks ago, thinking that it was going to be okay, it was only what am I trying to say? Oh, the forecast had been that it was supposed to be cooling off, and so it was only supposed to be in the low 80s. And as the week went on, the forecast kept going higher and higher, and mid 80s, high 80s. And by the time I got on trail, the high was 91 that day. Just miserable. I also got a mild case of, and if you're from the South, you know this, and if you're not from the South, you're going to wonder what in the world I'm talking about. But I had some people call it two different things. They call it red bugs and call it chiggers. And I had a mild case of chiggers, and they're just these mites that burrow into your skin and are just miserable. You treat them basically like mosquito bites, but they'll drive you crazy. Yeah, low 80s in Alabama humidity is no fun. By the time it gets into the upper 80s and low 90s, just miserable. Yeah, tie-dye. Red bugs are the worst. Oh, they're just, they'll just drive you crazy. Yeah, and I've got some stuff that I could put on the bites that makes it feel a lot better, but still, it just drives you crazy. Ooh, a section on the Shenandoah, a section of the Shenandoah this summer where your shortest water carry was 12 miles. Whew. And you were dipping out of stationary puddles, and that was one of the more reliable water supplies. That is awful. How in the world? And I've heard of I won't name the hiker, but it's somebody that I know personally who was on a hike, and it was in September with the Pinhoti, and it was hot, humid, and they had run out of their water, and they were doing a road walk and found a water bottle on the side of the road and drank it because uh, that's how miserable they were. You just take your chances. Uh, and Johnny Camper, that's exactly what I was talking about. It's I think it's called Chigger X, um, and it is pretty good at relieving those bites. But man, it's they're still awful. Yeah, tie dye. Sometimes it isn't water. In this case, he checked it to make sure it was water. Uh, it was not Terry. No, if it had been Terry, I would have just called him out. I would have said, "Yeah, it was Terry, and it was not water." But it wasn't Terry. Now I wish it had been, just so I could call him out. Yeah, that's exactly right. We're just going to say it was him. Next time I see him, I'm going to accuse him of it. And when he denies it, I'm just going to insist, "No, dude, you told me about this. I remember. You're just lying now." Just denying it to try to make yourself feel better. Fortunately, the person who had to do that, they told me that it was just water. So I guess that's convenient. You heard it on YouTube, so it has to be true. That's right. All right, Micah, 6'8". We'll talk to you later. Uh, and I hope to see you again on a live. And if not, maybe you can jump on the Pinhoti with me between Christmas and New Year's, kind of depending on what your schedule looks like. I look forward to it. Maybe I can keep up with you. That's another thing. Just full disclosure, I have trouble keeping up with a lot of the people that I hike with. They can out hike me. Now, by the end of the day, I'll more or less catch up. Uh, but sometimes I struggle to just keep up through the course of the day. Probably shouldn't admit that, should I? I should probably tell it the other way. They can't keep up with me, but it's not true. There are a couple of people that I hike with that uh, if they wanted to, not only would they leave me during the day, but it would be impossible for me to catch up by the end of the day. They would be somewhere on the globe doing whole laps around the globe around me. Yeah, that's right. As long as I can make it to camp, they'll get to camp. I don't know, like a half hour, 20 minutes ahead of me. But I eventually catch them. And in the end, I don't feel any worse than they do. So uh, it must be all right. But I do make it into camp eventually. I don't think I've ever made it into camp where they made it in daylight and I was in the dark catching up. I don't think I've ever done that. Now, I've been in the dark hiking before, but it didn't have anything to do with trying to catch up with other people. All right, Johnny Camper, we'll see you later. Thanks for dropping in. Had a Bulgarian friend, grew up hiking the Alps. Yeah, I bet he was a trail beast. Asked to come along one of your trips, told him he was welcome as long as he was hiking with me and not me keeping up with him. Yeah. And I've got a couple of friends that are that, well, they're not leaving me on purpose. I mean, everybody sort of hikes their own pace through the course of the day, but they're not leaving on purpose, and they stop at a point where I can, get caught up. But boy, if I felt like I was just struggling to keep up all day, every day, and getting into camp 2 or 3 hours after them and well after dark, no, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. Hike with me and you don't have to worry about keeping up. I don't know. I've been on a couple of hikes with you, and there were times where you were ahead of me. I didn't say anything, but I was working on trying to keep up with you. Don't try this false modesty thing with me. Well, all right, y'all. It's been over 40 minutes. I really thought I would get on here for about 15 or 20. Wait, no takers on the chigger prevention tip? No, what was that? Did I miss it? I had the same answer that Johnny Camper did, which was Chigger X. That stuff's pretty good. No takers on the chigger prevention tip. Did I miss something? Of course, the best chigger prevention tip is don't go out in the woods in Alabama before November. Something you learned in the Marines, 100% effective. Oh, wear pantyhose. Yeah. I've heard that kind of thing. So you were a Marine, huh? We could go back and forth with Marine and sailor jokes. Let's don't. Absolutely, Max. We'll get together on a Sipsy trip. And yeah, you said I would laugh, and I'm laughing with you, not at you. 17 years in the Marines. Whew. All right, y'all. I think I'm gonna call this one off. So, thanks for dropping in. This was fun, and maybe I'll see you on the next one. I plan to start trying to do these maybe on Sunday afternoon. So, I just think it's fun to connect with people. You'd hate to ruin a good pair of hose. Hiking in them for sure would ruin the hose, I think. All right, y'all have a good afternoon. Have a good week, and maybe I'll see you again next Sunday. Sunday squid hour. All right, bye, y'all. Oh, there it is. Okay.